Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Again, we've got another new video. It's Primaris Space Marines this time. So I did promise with the little index for the Death Guard you get in the Dark Imperium box, I was also going to do the Primaris Space Marine one. It's taken me an extra day to get it done. The video somehow got deleted the first time, so this is it as promised. So we'll run through the Primaris Space Marines, the units you can have and the rules. Warhammer community have just announced there's going to be some new Primaris Space Marines and some new Death Guard in July, so hopefully I'll get a chance to review those for you as well. Some really cool looking models, especially for the Primaris Marines. There's a captain, a librarian, and there's a unit called Revilers, I think they're called. They're like Night Lord kind of Terror Marines. They've got suppressed bolters, massive combat knives, and like skull helms, which is really cool. So we'll hopefully get around to them, but on to the guys we've got in Dark Imperium. So this is really for anyone who hasn't got Dark Imperium, so doesn't know the rules, or is just getting started, so they're not quite sure what the rules necessarily mean. Are they good or bad, you know? And just for everyone to follow along with, really. So we've got a bit of Angels of Death background for the Primaris Marines, sort of how they came into being, a bit about Belisarius Cawl and Guilliman's involvement. So that's quite cool. We've got the different type of units that were out with Dark Imperium, so this isn't including anything in the future, this is just the current units. So you've got captains, who are the leaders of the Primaris. They're generals, they're leaders in combat and tactically. You've got Ancients that are sort of honoured veteran brothers who carry banners, perform different roles, and are generally kind of like the last one holding a breach or something like that, the one who goes and recovers the colours of the chapter. So they're very heroic, and they probably had to do something pretty heroic to get that rank. You've got Primaris Lieutenants. These guys are things like Vox operators, medics, artillery officers. There's lots of different kind of variations, and I think that's something they'll really expand on. I'll go into their rules soon, but something I think they'll really expand on and offer you 3 or 4 options of what you want your lieutenant to specialise in. For now, we've got quite a in this book we've got quite a sort of basic version, but I think it's something they're really going to flesh out. You've got Intercessor squads, so they're effectively tactical Marines from the original Space Marines. But they operate a bit more like a Legion unit. So like tactical Marines, they're sort of the units of the line, the basic guys who hold objectives and just sort of hold back the hordes, but they don't deal with the big threats. But they're pretty much all armed with the same weapon, more like the Legions of old. So it's sort of a mix there of the two. You've got Inceptor squads, so these are the new jump pack Marines. Very cool looking, very cool big jump pack. I also love these new flying stands. As I said in the intro video, they're clear, and because they got behind the model, you can't really see them. Really cool, and really cool sort of dual wielding heavy bolters with like those bullet shields on them, so they can protect themselves. So they look really cool. Offer you some movement and firepower. You've then got Hellblaster squads. So this is the unit with all plasma guns. Again, it'd be interesting in the future if that is all Hellblaster squads are, or whether when they start bringing out maybe all melter gun squads, or all heavy bolter squads, or all flamer squads, or whatever they are they all Hellblaster squads and you just arm them differently, or are they actually going to be different choices? Again, this is a bit of a throwback to the old Legions, squads of specialists. Again, not something you see in the codex. It's 10 tactical Marines, 1 sergeant, 1 heavy weapon, 1 special weapon, bolters. Not all special weapons, so again, a bit of difference there. So this is a bit of a background look at the Ultramarines. There's some new background there, so it's worth a quick read. The main thing to look at though is what's over here. You've got some cool indicators of how you should paint, not just your Ultramarines, but clues on how you can paint your own chapter, whether you've made it up or it's a Codex Astartes chapter, because they're probably going to follow something like this. So you've got the different symbols for the different companies, the different coloured trim for the 1st to the 10th company. You've also got different coloured helmets for sergeants, veteran sergeants, lieutenants and veterans. So again, you can copy that, or you can do your own. So if your army has red armour, you're not going to have a red sergeant helm. So you might go blue for the sergeant, you might go blue and white for the veteran sergeant, gold for the lieutenant and white for the veteran still, or whatever it might be. And little hints on how to paint the weapons and things like that as well. That's pretty good. You've then got the Defenders of Humanity page. So this is the same thing but briefer and for more chapters. So you've got pretty much all the first foundings down here and on the next page. But you've also got, firstly, some of the second foundings like Black Templars, which I'm doing, Crimson Fists. But you've also got on this page some of the new Primaris chapters like the Fulminators, that are an Ultramarine successor. You've got the Blades of Vengeance, that are a Dark Angel successor, and the Storm Reapers, which are a White Scar successor. So you've got, they just give you some cool ideas. It doesn't mean you have to copy these. It just might make you think, actually, instead of the Blades of Vengeance, I'm going to call them the Lions of Wrath, but copy that paint scheme. So a Dark Angel successor called the Lions of Wrath, I'm going to copy that colour scheme, etc. So it just gives you some cool ideas. Starting to go off. Got a bit of a painting gallery here. Again, it's for Ultramarines, but you can take a lot of tips on how to paint your Primaris from here. Just change the colours. Some cool details like checked knee pads, chapter symbols on your knees, things like that. Line highlighting. So there's a few options there to look at. So these are the rules. These are sort of the main event, if you like. You've got Space Marine data sheets. So you've got, and they shall know no fear. So this affects pretty much all the units in the army. This unit can reroll failed morale tests. So it's a really cool opening rule. It's probably even more powerful than it was in the last edition. I think the last edition it was overlooked because people who played Space Marine were so used to their unit not running away. And until you played other armies, you didn't really appreciate that you can't run off the board, really. You can't get caught in the sweeping advance. If you run away, you automatically rally, and you can act pretty much as normal. There were restrictions, but not loads. Now it's gone to reroll morale tests, which you could say is not quite as good, but because leadership's lower and more vital in the new edition, I'd actually say it's even better. You might roll at 6, and all of a sudden 4 of your guys are dying. Reroll, I've rolled a 2, and all of a sudden none are. It is pretty big. That could be something that saves the game, so it's a cool start. This is just saying Space Marine chapters, so basically when it refers to the Adeptus Astartes chapter, just insert your chapter name. So in my case, Black Templars. So the first unit entry, so the only real special rule is, and they shall know no fear, really. So the first one is Captain in Gravis armour. He's power 8. We'll go through points when we go through the model. So he's movement 5 inches, like most of the Primaris. Weapon skill skill 2+, so he's nice and reliable. Strength 4, toughness 5, which is good, makes him a bit tougher to wound. A lot of stuff strength 4. Wound 6, attacks 5, which is really good. Again, in the old edition you got a lot more attacks, whereas now 5 is a big number of attacks. Even combat units often only have 2. Leadership 9, which is nice and high, and save 3+. So a really nice solid stat line. He's a single model. He comes equipped with a Mastercrafted Power Sword and a Bolt Storm Gauntlet. He also has an Iron Halo, but we might have to pay for some of that, so we'll look at that in a minute. And they shall know no fear, Space Marine chapters. The Iron Halo is a 4+ invulnerable save, so again, makes him nice and tough. Rites of Battle. So this is a really cool rule. So you can reroll all hit rolls of 1 made for friendly units within 6 inches. So the two cool things about that is, number 1, just a really good rule. Reroll hits, brilliant, no problem with that. It's actually 3 things. Number 2, it doesn't say in shooting or combat, so it's both. And 3, it's 6 inches. So you can, if you're having a bit of a battle line, see I went on Black Templar, so I'll be rushing forward. But if you're on Pure Fist and you're going to make a battle line, you could quite easily put a unit in front of him, a unit to either side, because you want to make a tight, solid, almost like phalanx or Roman legion formation. The Captain Gravis armor behind them, he can make all 3 of those units do that, because 6 inches is a decent distance. So he can cover a lot of units with that rule. So basically your army is bolter drill, if you know that from 7th. So that's really nice. Going on to his weapons, he has a Bolt Storm Gauntlet, ranged is 12 inches, pistol 3, strength 4, AP dash, damage 1. So pretty standard, nothing particularly special there. The Bolt Storm Gauntlet in melee, this is where it kind of comes to life a bit more. Times 2 strength, so he'll be strength 8, -3 to your armor, D3 wounds, but you're at -1 to hit. You're at -1 to hit, but you're still going to hit on 3s, so who really cares? You've got 5 attacks, you're going to hit with 3 or 4 on average, and then they're going to be strength 8, -3, D3 wounds. So that'll hit pretty hard against most things. You'd have to be really tough to not be worried about that. You have got the option of a Mastercrafted Power Sword, so you keep the -3 AP, and you get damage 2, which is actually the average roll on D3, so that's really fine. But you don't get the ×2 strength, but you also don't get the -1 to hit. So if the enemy you're going to be hurting is toughness 4 or 3, so you're going to hit and wound them on 4s or 3s anyway, you could potentially go for the Power Sword and not get the -1 to hit. But I think you're going to find with the Boltstorm Gauntlet 75–80% of the time. So I think that's the one to keep an eye on. But yeah, you know, he's good. He's got a good rule. He's tough to kill. He's pretty good in combat. Lots of attacks. Good leadership. So he is 98 points. But he has, is it Mastercrafted, this Power Sword? It is. So that's 17 points. That's 115. And then he's got the Boltstorm Gauntlet, which is 33. So that's 148. And 148. What guns you got? Oh, that is it. Yeah, sorry. Oh, the Iron Halo. That's what it is. 148. Doesn't say anything about the Iron Halo, so you must get that for free. So he's 148 points. I think he's a bit of a steal, to be honest. He's your only choice for a tough leader at the moment. The other leaders, as you'll see, are reasonably soft, but I think he's fantastic. 148 points for that stat line, that ability in combat, the cool aura effect, and his weapon loadout, I think's really good. So no compunction about taking him whatsoever. He isn't Gravis armoured. There is a power armoured one coming out in that second wave I was talking about in July, but we'll see about how good he is, because he might lose quite a bit of his toughness for less points, and don't know whether it will be necessarily worth it. So Primaris Lieutenants. So they have movement of 6 inches, weapon skill 2+, bliss skill 3+, strength toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, 3+ save. So he's not actually miles behind the captain. He's got 1 less leadership. Is it 1 less save? No, 1 less leadership, 1 less attack, 1 less wound, 1 less toughness, and 1 less bliss skill. I know it's a decent amount, but +1 movement. It's a decent amount lost, but it's not, you know, he's not falling apart. He's still a pretty tough guy. He's armed with an auto bolt rifle, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades. He can have instead a power sword instead of the bolt rifle. He has a Nation Unknown Fear Space Marine chapters, tactical precision. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly units that are within 6 inches of the model. So he can actually stand with the captain, and then your units are rerolling 1s to hit and to wound, which can make them really deadly. Company heroes. During deployment, all lieutenants in this unit must be set up at the same time. However, once battle has begun, they can independently operate, so that's fine. So they can all break off and do what they want to do. Got to go through some weapons here. So the bolt pistol is 12 inches, pistol 1, strength 4, AP dash, damage 1. The auto bolt rifle is exactly the same, but it's assault 2 rather than pistol 1, and it's 24-inch range. It's a pretty good basic weapon because you get 2 shots and you can charge after. The power sword is the same as the captain. Strength user, -3, damage 1. And the frag grenade and crack grenades, both 6-inch range, but the frag grenade is grenade D6, strength 3, AP dash damage 1, and the crack grenade is grenade 1, strength 6, AP -1, D3 damage. So you've got 1 anti-infantry, 1 anti-tank monstrous creature, just like they were in the previous edition. So look, another solid choice. Decent stat line. Cool rule with the reroll 1s to wound, especially combined with the captain, so the same units could benefit from both. They could really start laying down some firepower. Really reliable firepower as well. He's 60 points. You can have 1 to 2 in a unit, so he's 60 points. His power sword, it's 4 points, that's 64. Does he pay for anything else? I don't think he does. So that's it. So he's 64 with a power sword, or he's just 60 if you give him auto bolt rifle, frag and crack grenades. So yeah, he's pretty solid. He's not as good as the captain, but he's half the points, if actually under half the points. And he still gets that cool reroll 1s to wound, but again, I'd probably team him with the captain because the 2 of them are only 200 points, and that's not a ton of points, to be honest, for 2 pretty good heroes. Onto the Primaris Ancient. So he has the same stat line as the Lieutenant, apart from he's got 1 less weapon skill. So he's weapon skill 3+, and ballistic skill 3+. But he's still got the 5 wounds, 4 attacks, good leadership. So he's still pretty solid. He's armed with a bolt rifle, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades, and an Adeptus Astartes banner. He has Unleash on Fear, Space Marine chapters. So the Adeptus Astartes banner, units within 6 inches that are friendly of the chapter you have gain +1 to their leadership. So that's good. You know, you're boosting up your whole army to leadership 8, leadership 9 minimum. In addition, roll a dice each time a chapter infantry model is destroyed within 6 inches of a friendly chapter ancient. Before removing the model as a casualty, on a 4+, that model musters 1 last surge of strength before succumbing to its wounds. It can either shoot with one of its weapons as if it was a shooting phase, or make a single attack as if it was a fight phase. Cool. So that's really nice. That's a really nice rule. +1 leadership is really good, especially teamed with Primaris. You already have pretty decent basic leaderships. They're really solid, not running away. I really love that last surge that the Marine, like, you know, has his leg and arm blown off, but he sees the banner fluttering and he's like, one last effort, and guns down one more traitor or punches another traitor in the face. That's really cool. The Primaris Ancient is 63 points. All his equipment's free, apart from the banner. I don't know. Oh, the banner comes included. Ooh. So again, for 63 points. So now, if you had all 3, they are 260 points. It's starting to mount up, but it's still not crazy points. And you can have all 3 of those together behind your main line, really boosting it up. So they're pretty cool. He's actually an elite choice, the Primaris Ancient as well, not HQ, so he takes up different slot. So these 3 are the main units you get with the Primaris. You have Intercessors, Inceptors, and Hellblasters. So we'll start with the Intercessor squad. So the Intercessor squad are the one I was talking about that's kind of like a tactical squad. They're a troops choice. There's 5 of them in a unit with a sergeant. They have 6-inch move, 3+ weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength toughness 4, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7, 3+ save. The Intercessor sergeant has leadership 8 and 3 attacks as his boost for being a sergeant. They shall know Fear and Space Marine chapters. Each model is armed with a bolt rifle, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades. We've been through the bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades. The bolt rifle is a really nice weapon. So it's 30-inch range, so really nice range. Can compete with the Tau. Rapid fire 1, so 1 shot, but 2 obviously in 15 inches, which is going to be quite a lot. Strength 4 and damage 1 like you'd expect, but you get the -1 AP. So a little cheeky -1 AP in there, which is nice. Just that little boost on top. So they can't have any other weapons. That is what they are. They are a bolt rifle army. But again, for shredding infantry with that -1 AP, they're pretty good. I don't think they're that expensive. So they're 24 points a model. Remember though, before you gasp at that, they have got 2 wounds and 2 attacks, and they have got a decent weapon. So they should be quite expensive. So that makes the 5 of those 120, doesn't it? So 120 points for 5, 240 for 10. I'm not going to say they're a steal. They're not really cheap. They're about what they should be, but they are what they're about they should be. So it's not like they're overpriced. They are your only troops at the moment, so you don't really have a choice but to take them anyway. So get 10 of them in your army, and then you've got 2 5-man squads for your troops. And later on, when more troop choices come out, you could always put them together into a 10-man squad anyway. You've then got Inceptors, which are fast attack. These are the jump pack guys. You get 3 of them in a unit, including the sergeant. They have the same stat line as the Intercessor squad, but they are toughness 5, so you get the extra toughness, and movement 10 to represent the jump packs. So the extra movement's really welcome, and the toughness 5 is brilliant. So they're now toughness 5 with 2 wounds. Really tough. You get 2 assault bolters, and they shall know no fear Space Marine chapters. Heavy jump pack. The sheer impact of a charging Inceptor can break through the walls and shatter bones. Roll a dice each time an Inceptor finishes a charge move within 1 inch of an enemy unit. On a 6, they suffer a mortal wound. So that's nice on the charge. Okay, there's only 3 of you, but you might knock on a mortal wound. Every little helps, and obviously these units are going to start getting bigger as people buy more of them. Suddenly you're going to say, and you're allowed to take more, and you suddenly have 6 9-man units all hitting home, causing mortal wounds. Plus it's quite a cool image, them just charging in, shoulder barging an orc out the way and killing him with just sheer impact. It's pretty cool. Meteorite descent. When you set up an Inceptor squad during deployment, they can be set up in high orbit instead of being placed on the battlefield. So basically you can bring them down at the start of any of your movement phases as long as they're 9 inches more from the enemy, but that does mean you can then shoot them and assault them. So a bit of flexibility there if you want to hold them back. That assault bolter is 18 inches, so with their movement it's a 28-inch range, so good range. Assault 3, so you can charge and you get 3 shots. It's strength 5, AP minus 1, sorry, damage 1. So it's nice. It's basically a heavy bolter on the move, which is fantastic. And they have 2 of them, so they're pumping out 6 shots a guy, 18 shots to the unit. Fantastic stuff. And they're not bad in combat either. You think, oh, they're a bit of a jumpy, shooty unit, kind of like warp spiders for Eldar. But you know, they've got 3+ weapon skill, strength 4, 2 attacks each, 3 for the sergeant. So they're not terrible in combat either. They're not going to do amazing, but they're not bad either. So these guys will set you back 39 points. And that's, oh no, assault bolter is what we're looking at, is, yeah, 7. So it's 14 because they've got 2 of them. So 14 on top of the 39 is 53. So they are expensive, you know, 6 of them are 300 points, 3 of them are about 150. So they are expensive, but with the 2 wounds of toughness 5, you've got to accept how tough they are. The amount of firepower they can lay down with 18 shots coming to 3, so 36 will come from 6. So yeah, they're 300 points, but you get 36 shots a turn at strength 5, AP minus 1. And they can deploy pretty much anywhere with deep strike and a 10-inch move. So I think they're pretty good. Finally, we have the Hellblaster squad, the heavy support. Same stat line as the Intercessors exactly, because they are just basically Marines but with special weapons. And they should only fear Space Marine chapters. Each model is equipped with a Plasma Incinerator, Bolt Pistol, Frag and Crack. So we know what Bolt Pistol, Frag and Crack do. So it's just the Plasma Incinerator we need to go through. So 13-inch range, really nice range, way better than they used to be when plasma guns were short range. Rapid fire 1, so yeah, 1 shot, but 2 at close range. Strength 7, AP minus 4, so basically no one's getting a save, more or less. Damage 1, so you're doing 1 damage. You can supercharge, at which point you get damage 2 and strength 8, which is brutal, but on a 1 you die, automatically no saves. So you are risking a bit, especially if you're in rapid fire range, because you might roll a few 1s, but what's great is it gives you the option. So plasma guns don't just overheat for the sake of it anymore. If you want to do it, or if you want to spring an ambush, or you're a desperate enough scenario, you can supercharge, but you don't have to. That's what's clever about it. It's a really good weapon, really good. And when teamed with the reroll 1s to hit, you could supercharge every turn. So that's the big tactic that's come out of this. Get the Gravis captain, get him near them, and reroll 1s to hit. And then you can supercharge every turn without really worrying. So these guys are 23 points each. With their Plasma Incinerator, though, they are 40 points. Well worth it. 5 of them is 200 points. The firepower they can lay down is massive. They can hurt vehicles, they can hurt heavy infantry, they can hurt monsters. Even if you get the Gravis captain so you can supercharge every turn, you can even start hurting mass infantry if you get in rapid fire range with 2 shots each. So really nice, really cool models as well. Those big Plasma Incinerator rifles are really cool. So that's Primaris Marines, guys. Let me know what you think. Put in the comments what you're thinking, what you're thinking tactics-wise. Are you collecting them? If you are, give me some background, give me painting, what chapter you're doing. Let me see it. Let me know any tactics I haven't seen in here. The one major one that stood out to me was the Gravis captain. Let me know if there's any others. Let me know what you think of the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Help boost the channel, help me make more videos. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys all next time.